Hi, to me, Israel's my home. I miss it so much. I wish we could be there. An only in Israel moment is you just feel safe when you see the soldiers walking around Ben Yehuda everywhere, in the bus station. And another only in Israel moment is that the buses say Chag Sameach before a holiday, and I just love that.
Israel to me is a place where every type of Jew is accepted and every Jew can call it home. You'll see people dress all different types of ways, but it's clear like they all have a love for Hashem and the land of Israel.
I love everything about Israel, but my favorite only in Israel moment was being able to be there for some of the Chagim and seeing like the vibe and the feel everyone has, and like it's really celebrated all over everywhere. It was really amazing.
Israel is just the prettiest and most amazing place in the entire world, and like every time I go to Israel I just feel like I'm home and never really want to come back here. And yeah, it's just like there's nothing like Israel.
Happy Yom Ha'atzmaut, everyone. The reason I love Israel is because you really feel a Jewish presence, and obviously a meet's there. My only in Israel story is I was really sick one day and I went to the Makola and Yaakov squeezed me fresh lemon juice. And
okay, so my favorite only in Israel moment that sticks out to me is on Rosh Chodesh Adar when Neely took us out in Midon and meditation to dance on the streets. And the reason why this moment sticks out for me is because in no other place would you be able to just like go out in a silly costume and dance on the street and like try and bring people, like make people happier, and nobody would understand unless you're in Israel, because everyone in Israel knows what Purim is and knows like the month of Adar. And so that moment really sticks out to me because you can't do that in any place else and have people understand what you're doing and why you're trying to do that.
One thing that's really unique to Israel for me, and something that like I would constantly realize and notice, is that every Friday before Shabbat, no matter where you are, people are wishing you a Shabbat Shalom. And you don't really get that like when you're here in New York or in LA or Australia, wherever you are. You really only get that in Israel, and it really gives you a sense of family. So I really miss that, and I miss you guys, and hopefully we can see each other soon.
The favorite memory I have in Israel was when I did the virtual reality of the Beit HaMikdash, and then after that I went to the top of Aish and saw the view of the Kotel. It was just such an amazing experience and something I'll never forget.
When I think about Israel, I think about home. I think it's the land of the Jews and where we all relate to one another, and just has such a special meaning to me. I think about Torah, I think about the uniqueness that every city has, and an only Israel moment is definitely going to Machne Yehuda Shuk on Friday and seeing the craziness and the preparation for Shabbat, and I love it so much. It's my home, and it's the place that hopefully one day, B'ezrat Hashem, I hope to raise my kids.
To me, Israel is really my second home, and I developed that feeling over this past year when I was in Amit. And my favorite memory in Israel would be on Purim, seeing everyone dress up, walking around the city of Jerusalem, and just really embracing the culture and holiday.
Israel means so much to me and my family. Israel is a place where I can always call home, and it's a place that I can always feel comfortable and happy to be a Jew.
Me, Israel means my country and a place called home for everyone.
I think for me, Israel is so many things, but the main thing is that like you just feel like your authentic self, and just like being surrounded by like all these people that are so passionate, they're like risking their lives for this country, which is just so amazing. I think my like best memory in Israel is just like being in the old city for a Shabbos, and it was raining Friday night, and we were all sad because we had to daven inside, and someone looked out the window and saw it stopped raining, so we all like ran out and started like dancing and singing Kabbalat Shabbat all around the Old City, which is just so amazing and just like makes me so proud that like Israel's my country.
One time I was going back to school and my phone was dying and I realized I didn't have my Rav Kav and I only had 10 shekel on me, and I thought that would be enough for the bus, but it wasn't, and the woman behind me paid for the rest. Only in Israel.
So an only in Israel moment I had was when I first came to Israel. I was with my school group and we're going to the kotel for the very first time. And just before we entered the gates, we saw that there was a bar mitzvah happening with lots of music and dancing and singing. And the family actually asked us to come and join in, and we celebrated with the bar mitzvah boy, which was incredible, and obviously something which only happens in Israel.
After getting the privilege of living in Israel for a year, I really could say that Israel is my second home. I got to experience all sides of Israel from north to south and see all the amazing things that Israel has to offer.
An only in Israel moment that I had this year was going to the Kotel every Rosh Chodesh for Vatikan davening. It's only something that you can do in Israel, and I look forward to it every Rosh Chodesh. It really made my day.
The Israel moment is just like everyone being incredibly like caring and nice. Like it's just the culture. You go to random people for Shabbos, and like I remember thinking like I was at this random person's house for Shabbos who like I knew through a friend or whatever, and I'm like I'm in their house right now. They're treating me like they've known me for my entire life. So I think that was like just crazy. So yeah, I love you all and I miss you so much.
One of my favorite memories in Israel this year was one Friday afternoon. I was on my way to lunch with Becky, Raina, and Sophie, and we were sitting in the car, and all of a sudden the driver started playing Shalom Aleichem, like on the radio, and like he was like singing and whatever, and then as we left the car, he was like Shabbat Shalom, we're all like Shabbat Shalom. I just think like where else could that happen? Like where else are you gonna get your driver wishing you Shabbat Shalom as you leave the car? So yeah, I miss it.
Hi, I consider Israel to be my home, and an only in Israel moment would be the Shuk on Fridays.
Something that Israel means to me, it's like shows strength in the Jewish people about how we survived and how we're thriving, and it's always a place that we can go home, like it's like a home place for us, and you're always surrounded by people that are basically like us, and it's such like, it's so comforting, and that's what Israel means to me. And an only an Israel moment is something we all, most of us, hopefully experienced over Hanukkah. Was when we went to the Old City to light the Hanukkah all together by the Kotel, and then as we're walking out, you saw all the families standing outside lighting their Hanukkahs with their kids, and all the boxes like on top of each other with all the Hanukkahs.
One time I was walking in the shuk when you could say mincha, and it was so cool. Like in the middle of the shuk, like crazy hustle and bustle, like people started calling for a minyan, and then just like men gathered and they just like davened mincha, and then they just like went back to like what they were doing, and like people like you wouldn't think would be davening were, and they just like would come and like just join, and it was such a cool only in Israel moment.
Happy Yom Ha'atzmaut, everyone! A few special words about Israel is that the only thing that makes Israel is how welcoming everyone is, and that nowhere else on Purim would I be able to just go on the buses and just start dancing in costume and have people join. Only Israel, and it's the most amazing place in this world. Miss it.
Israel to me is a place where I can be as Jewish as I want, internally and externally, and it's really just a second home, and I know that I can always go back there.
I think my only in Israel moment is probably seeing people doing kavod in the streets just with live chickens, or on our Old City Shabbaton, like all of us dancing at the kotel and all these random people joining in. It was just so fun, and like everyone joined in who was there, and it was just awesome.
An only in Israel moment that I remember was in Geula. I was with my friend and we were going on the bus, and she realized she didn't have her Rav Kav. So she looked everywhere and we assumed that she had dropped it. somewhere along the way. And we kind of just gave up, and I was gonna let her use mine. And then right before the bus came, a lady came running up the hill with her Rav Kav in her hand, saying that she was looking everywhere for her and she finally found it, and she went totally out of her way to find my friend to give her back her Rav Kav. So yeah, that would only happen in Israel.
Appreciate my blue wall and white sweatshirt. Okay, my in Israel moment was I got in an argument with a random taxi driver about feminism. Only happened in Israel.
Israel means the world to me. It's my family, it's my home, and I can't wait to move there in the future.
Israel means so many things to me, but the most important is that it's our home to our people, and we should really appreciate it because it's truly just amazing. And I really miss it so much, and I wish we could be there now.
My favorite only in Israel moment was when I was in a lot on the school trip, and I lost my wallet, and I was like flipping out, said the bracha, everything, like couldn't find it anywhere. And then I opened like my Facebook Messenger and my Instagram messages, and I saw a message from a guy saying Emma Zesh whatever, like he was like saying like, is this yours, like he was really trying to get in touch with me, and he dropped it at the nearest police station, and I got it. And like that would only happen in Israel.
What I learned to love about Israel so much this year is that on Friday everything becomes so packed all of a sudden. Everyone's rushing on the buses, light rails, stores, like before to make it for Shabbos, and like it's really a nice thing, and certainly only in Israel.
Israel means to me is having a home for the Jewish people, to be able to live freely as a nation, and to be able to have the opportunity to go daven at the kotel like as often as you want, which is so special that in Israel we have the kotel, which is the last part of the Beit HaMikdash we have left, and you can't get that in America or anywhere else. So that's what makes Israel so beyond special to me.
So Israel to me is definitely a sense of comfort, that knowing no matter what's happening in the world or where I am, there's a place that not only will accept me but wants me and will celebrate like my Judaism. So it's definitely a sense of comfort, and of course like a second home. And an only in Israel moment would be this year when I was volunteering at a school for kids with special needs. I walked into class and I was kind of nervous because I was by myself and I didn't want to intrude or make it harder for anyone. And within like the first 2 minutes, the teacher's assistant offered her home to me for a Shabbat, like whenever I need, because she knew I didn't have family here because I was like American, and it was just so sweet. And I feel like that was an only in Israel moment.
I love Israel because it's such a special place where I can come and always feel at home and be together with Jews from everywhere.
Israel means home, and a uniquely Israel experience would be being able to travel anywhere, anytime, and still be safe.
Israel means home, growth, and love.
My favorite only in Israel moment is getting to wish the cab drivers a Shabbat Shalom on Fridays.
I think to me, Israel really represents togetherness and unity, and is just a real representation of what Judaism is supposed to be all about. I think that in Israel, you're so welcomed and respected because of who you are, and I never felt like my Judaism was something that was hindering my life, as I sometimes have felt in the States, but I felt like it was just something that created an emphasis and honestly like a plus to my life and just helped me go forward. And I think that that's exactly what Israel means, is it's just a place where your Judaism is celebrated and not necessarily viewed as an inconvenience or something that you don't necessarily dislike, but something that sometimes like hinders your life. I think my most like typical Israel moment was during Hanukkah. Like we were walking through the streets of Ben Yehuda, like just like eating like sufganiyot and like relaxing, and it was just like amazing to see all of these people together, and like we were able to hand out some sufganiyot to people, and it was just like a really amazing experience to like see the way that Israel all comes together for Hanukkah, and it just made my Hanukkah so beautiful and so like memorable for the rest of my life. I'll remember how much of like a togetherness and like a unified feeling you have during the holidays in Israel.
Yeah.
Only in Israel can you and your whole class go running around and hopping on buses and wishing a happy month to everybody.
Before this year, I had a great love for Israel. But now I can truly say I have a new appreciation for the country. And I think that's 100% due to Amit and the amazing months I had there and the unbelievable teachers that I learned from and the unforgettable friendships that I made and having the best Beit Hayeled fam. And I just experienced things that I never would have done before this year, like sleeping in a Bedouin tent, waking up at like 5 a.m. multiple times for hikes. I never would have done that before this year, but there was something that motivated me to do all these things, and that was being in Israel, and just my connection for the country just kept growing. And obviously I'm so upset that I can't be there for the rest of the year, but I feel so lucky that I'm able to say I'm homesick for Israel, and I hope Bezras Hashem soon I'll be able to go back. And yeah, Chag Sameach.
אני מאמין באמונה שלמה בביאת המשיח בארץ ישראל של אהבה בכל יום שיגיע